Okay, today in lesson 6, we're going to continue to look at more problems where you can solve them by finding equivalent ratios. Let's start by looking at exercise 1. The Business Direct Hotel caters to people who travel for different types of business trips. On Saturday night, there is not a lot of business travel. So the ratio of the number of occupied rooms to the number of unoccupied rooms is 2 to 5. However, on Sunday night, the ratio of occupied rooms to the number of unoccupied rooms is 6 to 1 due to the number of business people attending a large conference in the area. If the Business District Hotel has 432 occupied rooms on Sunday night, how many unoccupied rooms does it have on Saturday night? Well, there's a lot of information in this problem. So start by breaking it down and splitting it up into smaller chunks so we can look at smaller pieces and then put together the whole big picture. Well, so the information is split into 2 different days. There's Saturday and there's Sunday. Okay, so we got those 2 parts. And then there's also both occupied and there's unoccupied. We'll put OC for occupied and UN for unoccupied for both days. Okay, so now we can put our ratios. For the occupied, there's 2 and 5 unoccupied on Saturday. But on Sunday, there's 6 occupied and 1 occupied. Okay, last, we have our total occupied rooms on Sunday is 432. Now that we have all of our information sorted, let's look at what it's asking for. It's looking for how many unoccupied rooms does it have on Saturday night. So we're looking for Saturday night. But for Saturday night, they only give us the one ratio of occupied of 2 and unoccupied of 5. So we can't figure how many total rooms there are. So from there, we can't figure out how many occupied or unoccupied rooms there are. But we can use what we know on Sunday to figure out the total number of rooms. And that's not going to change. A hotel doesn't change its number of rooms from Saturday to Sunday. So once we figure out the total number of rooms, we can use our ratio to figure that out. So we know that the total number that occupied rooms on Sunday is 6 and occupied rooms is 1. Now, we're going to turn the occupied rooms into 432. So how are we going to turn the unoccupied into? So we're going to have to divide 432 by 6. 432 divided by 6 is 72. So we know that if we had a tape diagram here with 6 sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there would be 72 in each box. Well, if there would be 72 in each box, the tape diagram for unoccupied rooms would be 1 with 72 in it. So 1 times 72 means there's 72 unoccupied rooms. Well, if there's 6 occupied sections with 72 in and 1 unoccupied section with 72 in, that's 7 sections total. And 7 sections times the 72 of each section is 504. So we know now that there's 504 total rooms in the hotel. So now we can take this information and use it for our Saturday. Okay. Well, again, we can start with our tape diagram of 2 occupied rooms and then 5 unoccupied rooms. There we go. So now we can take that and we're going to have to split it up from the 504. Well, 504 is a total, so we need to figure out how many total sections do we have. We have 2 here and 5 here. So 2 and 5 is 7. We have 7 total sections. So we do 504 divided by 7, and you would get 72. So there's 72 in each section. And since there's 72 in each section, we can now figure out how many of each type of room. Our question is asking for how many unoccupied rooms. So you go to our unoccupied section. There's 5 sections, 72 in each. So 5 times 72 gives us 360 unoccupied rooms. So to recap, we had two different ratios, one for Saturday, one for Sunday. We used Sunday where we had more information to find the total number of rooms in the hotel, which doesn't change from day to day. And then use that total and split it up to figure out how many unoccupied rooms there were for Saturday night. Okay, let's look at exercise number 2. Peter is trying to work out by completing sit-ups and push-ups in order to gain muscle mass. Originally, Peter was completing 5 sit-ups for every 3 push-ups, but then he injured his shoulder. After the injury, Peter completed the same amount of repetitions as he did before his injury, but completed 7 sit-ups for every 1 push-up. During the training session after his injury, Peter completed 8 push-ups. How many push-ups was Peter completing before his injury? Okay, so again, we have a lot of information which we're going to split up into 2 different sections. There's before the injury and then after the injury. So let's start with the before and after. In the before, his ratio was 5 sit-ups, so 5 to 3 sit-ups to push-ups. But S for sit-ups, P for push-ups. After his ratio was 7 to 1. Again, sit-ups to push-ups. Now, the important piece of information here is he said he did the same amount of repetitions as he did before his injury. So if he was doing 35 things before his injury, he's still doing 35 after. Just the ratio of which he's doing it, before he was doing more push-ups, after he's doing less push-ups. So the ratio which he's doing is changed, but he's still doing the same number of things. He's just doing different things. So let's use what we know to figure out what. How many push-ups was Peter doing before his injury? Okay, well, in order to do that, we got to see what this last piece of information he gave us. He said he did 8 push-ups after his injury. So after his injury, he had 8 push-ups. Well, let's start with the tape diagram for after. He had 7 sit-ups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that was the sit-ups. And the push-ups, he only had 1. Well, if 1 turned into 8, then how big is in that section? Well, there must be 8 in that section. That means the rest up here must also be 8. Or 7 times 8, which is 56. So he is doing 56 sit-ups and 8 push-ups. So together, he was doing 64 total reps. Okay, repetitions. So if he's doing 64 repetitions after, well, he's going to be doing 64 total here. So if he's doing 64 total before, now we can split it up to see how many push-ups he was doing. Well, we can again use our tape diagram. So you'd have 5 sit-ups, and then 3 push-ups. Now, that's 8 total reps, 5 with the sit-ups, 3 with the push-ups. So then we can figure out how much is in each box. We're going to do 64 divided by 8. 64 divided by 8 is 8. So there's going to be 8 in each box. And if there's 8 in each box, and he's got 3 boxes for push-ups, how many is that total? Well, 3 times 8 is 24. He was doing 24 push-ups before his injury. Okay, let's look at example number 3. Tom and Rob are brothers who like to make bets about the outcomes of different contests between them. Before the last bet, the ratio of the amount of Tom's money to the amount of Rob's money was 4 to 7. Rob lost the latest bet in the competition, and now the ratio of the amount of Tom's money to the amount of Rob's money is 8 to 3. If Rob had $280 before this last competition, how much does Rob have now that he lost the bet? Well, again, we have a lot of information, so let's split it up. There's two sections. There's before the bet, which we'll label with B, and after the bet, which we'll label with A. Okay, now the ratio before was 4-7, and the ratio after was 8-3. Okay, now just like in the last problems, we have one extra piece of information here to help us figure it out, and that this time is how much money Rob had before the last competition, so before here. And so that's where he had the $280. Okay, so let's start with our tape diagram. Tom had 4, and then Rob had 7. Okay, so Tom and Rob, and we know that Rob had $280 before. So we need to figure out how much each of these individual sections is in our tape diagram. So we have 7 sections and $280. So we can do 280 divided by 7, which is going to give us $40. So each section is $40. Well, then how much total money was there between the two boys? That's what's going to help us over here for after, because that's the thing that's not going to change. Tom's money is going to change. Rob's money is going to change. But the total they both have is going to be the same after. It's just going to be split up differently, or the ratio is going to be different. So to figure that out, we have to see how many total sections there are, and there's 11 total sections at $40. So we can do 11 times 40, and that's going to be $440. It's the total amount of money between the two boys. Well, that is going to be the same over here. So there's going to be a total of $440. Well, then we can create our tape diagrams. And Tom now has 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for Tom. And Rob has 3. Okay, well, again, there's 11 total sections, so you can do the 440 divided by 11, and that's going to get you $40 in each section. So if you know there's $40 in each section, then we got to figure out how much money does Rob have after he lost the bet. Well, Rob has 3 sections of 40, so 3 times 40 is going to equal $120. Okay, time to look at example number 4. Sporting goods store ordered new bikes and scooters. For every 3 bikes ordered and 4 scooters were ordered. However, bikes were way more popular than scooters, so the store changed the next order. The new ratio for the number of bikes ordered to the number of scooters ordered was 5-2. If the same amount of sporting equipment was ordered both orders and 64 scooters were ordered originally, how many bikes were ordered as part of the new order? Okay, so again, we have 2 sections. There's the first order and the second order. Now again, one of the key information here was the same amount of shopping or sporting equipment was ordered. This means that we know the 2 ratios are going to be equivalent. That's what that's telling us. Well, for the first order, the ratio was 3-4. For the second order, the ratio was 5-2. Okay, so we know those 2 ratios, but now we got to figure out, well, what other information do they give us to help us figure this out? We know there's 64 scooters ordered in the original or first order. So we know there was 64 scooters under the first order. Well, let's use our tape diagram to help us figure this out. 3 bikes, and then we have 4 scooters. Okay, well, if we know that there's 4 scooters, sections of scooters, it's going to make 64. How much is each section going to be? Well, we can do 64 divided by 4, which will be 16. So we know 16 is in each section. Okay. Well, we can use that to figure out how many total bikes and scooters were ordered. Since we know that that's the same, that can help us out on the other problem. Well, since we have 7 sections, 7 times 16 is 112. So 112 total pieces of equipment ordered, and that's going to be the same for both. So if we know this is our total, we can use that to help us on the other one. Again, let's start with our tape diagram. We're going 5 bikes and 2 scooters. Now, what are we looking for? Are we looking for bikes or scooters? Well, we want bikes ordered as the new order, or second order. So we got to figure out how much each section is. Well, there's 7 total sections here: 5 for the bikes, 2 for the scooters, and 112 total. So we can do 112 divided by 7, which we know from the other side is going to equal 16. We know each section is 16, and again, we're looking at bikes. So we can do bikes 5 times 16 will get us the total number of bikes, and 5 times 16 is 80. 80 total bikes. Okay, let's look at example number 5. At the beginning of 6th grade, the ratio of the number of advanced students to the number of regular math students was 3 to 8. However, after taking the placement test, students were moved around, changing the ratio of the number of advanced students to the number of regular students to 4 to 7. How many students started in the regular math and advanced math if there were 92 students in advanced math after the placement test? Well, again, we have 2 sections here. We have before the placement test and after. We'll represent those with a B and an A. The ratio before was 3 to 8, 3 advanced math students and 8 regular math students. But after the test, that changed, and we went to 4 advanced math students to every 7 in regular math. Now we got to look at for our extra information to help us out. Here the extra information is 92 students in advanced math. So we had 92 in advanced math after the placement tests. So with that in mind, we can use this to help figure out how many were in each before, because the same number of students were in the 6th grade, just which class they were in was changed, or the ratio between them changed. So we start by, again, making our tape diagram. We go to 4 for the advanced and 7 for the regular. And we can use our information. We have 92 students in the advanced math after. So we can take that 92 and we got to split it up amongst the 4 sections of advanced math. To do that, we do 92 divided by 4, and we will get 23. So that there's 23 in each section of the advanced. That must mean there's 23 in the regular. Well, now we can go over to the before. Well, we know if the ratios are equivalent, that each section will have the same number of students, the number of sections for each one, advanced and regular, is just going to change. So if we go to our tape diagram of 3 advanced and 8 regular, 7, 8 for the regular, we then know that it's going to be 23 in each section here, because there's still the same total of 11 sections. We just know that there's more sections in the regular before and less after, so still 23 in each. Well, we can use that to figure out how many of each there's going to be. There's going to be, for after, we're going to do 23 times 3, which is going to equal 69. And for the irregular, we're going to do 23 times 8, which is going to be 184. So we can see that we have 69 for advanced students to 184 regular students before the placement test. For the last two examples, example 6 and example 7, I'd like for you to try them on your own. Hit pause and then try them on your own, and then once you are done with them, you can hit play and check the answers. For problem 6, art class, there were 30 students, and for gym class, there was 105 students. In problem 7, in her savings, she had $624, and in checking, she had $468.